The following program is brought to you by The Bot Shop, the art of creativity.
Tonight on The Local Live, first Larchmont, now Mamaroneck gets its own historical murals. Trustee Keith Waite says farewell to the village. Westchester County Executive George Latimer addresses the state of the county. And on tonight's roundtable, Mamaroneck Mayor Tom Murphy is here. Good evening, it's Thursday, April 18th. I'm Sibylla Chipiziwa, and welcome to The Local Live. When developer KOSL announced plans to demolish the 40 Ocean Avenue home and replace it with 4 new ones, a group of residents formed Preserve Larchmont and pushed back. Now, 4 years later, the group announced an agreement with the developer to preserve the house and to build no more than 2 homes on the rest of the 1.5 acres. Reactions to KOSL's initial plan led the Larchmont Village Board to impose a 6-month moratorium on most residential demolitions. In late 2016, the board passed 6 local laws further regulating teardowns and division of parcels. 40 Ocean is a particularly prominent home on a large piece of land. It was built in the late 1800s and designed by architect Frank Ashburn, known for his work on Village Hall and the Larchmont Public Library. Preserve Larchmont and KOSL could not be reached for comment at press time. Environmentalists in Larchmont Village and Mamaroneck Town are collaborating on a Healthy Yards project to encourage residents to garden without using harmful chemicals. Larchmont Mayor Lorraine Walsh spoke on the topic earlier this month.
The Larchmont Environmental Committee, assisted by Trustee Bauer, led a robust campaign to make residents and landscapers aware of the village ban on gas-powered leaf blowers, as well as the health and environmental dangers associated with their use. Their focus this spring is a tri-municipal Healthy Lawns initiative, in part to educate the public about the environmental consequences of pesticide use.
In a related program, the Larchmont Library and Healthy Yards Project are addressing the local decline in our monarch butterfly population. On Saturday, April 27th, the library is hosting a workshop on how to raise monarch butterflies. This event is for all ages and will feature material on how to sustain gardens without using pesticides. In his second State of the County address, County Executive George Latimer stressed themes of progressing, modernizing, and achieving. Here are some of the highlights.
Much has changed since I last stood before you in this chamber. It has been a year of progress, significant progress, but there's still the realization that we have far to go. We are not yet satisfied, and we are not yet tired. We were all very pleased when Governor Cuomo and his team committed NYSERDA and NYPA to a $250 million action plan for Westchester to deal with the issue of the moratorium. We're still working with the municipalities and the developers who are impacted by the moratorium to try to get the resources that they need to manage the projects that are at risk. And this includes economic incentives for clean alternative energy sources, job training to make sure that we have a workforce that can assess the feasibility and install new energy sources. This year, due to the politics of Washington, D.C., we have seen an exponential increase in our federal income taxes, far greater than any other single-year tax increase ever seen, thanks to the loss of the full SALT deduction. That policy was imposed purposefully, and it was purposefully devastating. That tax policy punishes the states that build necessary mass transit. It punishes the states that provide professional police and fire services. It punishes the states that ensures a higher quality of K-12 education. Shortly after taking office, we started a new shared services program. The new plan, created in 2018 with public and local government input and the input of this Board of Legislators, offers greater savings than the previous effort, and we look to adjust the plan in 2019 and beyond to find more areas where we can realize savings. Let me give you one example. In Westchester County, together with Suffolk County, County Executive Steve Ballone, and with Nassau County, County Executive Laura Kern, We have established a cooperative buying plan for police vehicles that is estimated to save in the vicinity of $1 million.
Other topics included upgraded concessions and rides at Playland for the 2019 season, reduction of overhead flights at the county airport, efforts to curb brig strikes, mobile office hours for the Veterans Service Agency, and the expansion of the Police Advisory Board. Earlier this week, I spoke with Keith Waite, who is resigning his seat on the Mileage Village Board on April 23rd. Here is a clip of our conversation. Yeah, I guess we should just jump right into it, right? Your last meeting is Monday.
Correct, the 22nd, my last meeting, and then I get on a plane on Tuesday morning and fly to the UK.
Wow. So what has it been like as a trustee? Can you tell us some of the highs and the lows?
Certainly not what I expected it to be. When I was considering running, I was told and promised that it would be one Monday night a week and that's it, and don't worry, it's not too much work. But in fact, it becomes very absorbing. It becomes almost continuous. You never really get a break, which is fine. You know, you really devote yourself to the public, to what you have to do as a trustee. So it is very time consuming. So that was the first thing that was a bit of a shock, but I don't regret that. The years that I've been a trustee under two mayors, I think we've accomplished a lot. I think we've got a new LWRP. We're working on the comprehensive plan. We have a moratorium to give us breathing space on development, which I think is a good idea. So there'll be a new laws coming out on that very shortly. My biggest time has been spent on the industrial area and looking at how we can change that and really sort of make that into something as a go-to place. So that I would say is my biggest high. So yeah.
Is there anything else that needs improvement that you feel?
There's always things that need improvement. It's a matter of what's the priority right now. Obviously, we have this issue with the flooding, and we've got the Army Corps of Engineers that are very close to looking at starting their work. It's an $80 million project, and it's been, you know, it's at the federal level, and the county and the state have been involved in that. So that would be terrific if we can really get that going. Flooding obviously is a big issue. I think Harbour Island and the flooding that comes from the sea also is another issue, and I think we need to start looking at how we raise the seawalls to stop flooding coming from the coast as well. Famous last words. Wow, okay. I think I could say hasta la vista. I will be back, and hopefully people will remember who I am, and I'll be able to be involved in public service again. I've enjoyed it, and hopefully I've made some contribution.
Congratulations to Kelly Wenstrup, who was appointed by Mamaroneck Mayor Tom Murphy to fill the empty seat on the Board of Trustees. She is a member of the Mamaroneck Traffic Commission and also serves on the village's Zoning Board of Appeals. And on tonight's roundtable, Mamaroneck Mayor Tom Murphy is here to talk with Michael Witch about the Friendly Village.
Hello, I'm Mike Witch, and welcome to the Roundtable. Tonight's guest needs no introduction. However, I'll attempt one. Tom Murphy is now the mayor of the village of Mamaroneck. Before that, he was a council person in the town of Mamaroneck, and before that, he was a trustee in the village of Mamaroneck. So this is time for my questions and yours. Don't forget, you can call us, you can email with your questions, and we've got about 20 minutes or so for a conversation. Tom, welcome back.
Mike, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Full disclosure, I'd like to say that I do contribute to your reelection campaign, and I work with you on the Cable TV Board of Control, and I'm an official advisor to the village of Mamaroneck. And I'm also responsible for your 3 children.
Yes, you are.
Or
Mike.
so you say.
So I say.
Would you please explain that last statement?
In 1979, I went to Boston University. And in Boston University, I met a lovely young woman named Leah, who was from Mamaroneck, New York. And I asked her why she went to Boston University. And she was in a school of communications. And she said because she had a teacher at Mamaroneck High School named Mike Witch, who interested her in video and in the communication field. And that's why she went to Boston University. And we ended up getting married and having 3 beautiful children. And the marriage didn't work out, but the children endure. And she's, as you know, a very lovely woman.
I do.
And
yes.
I owe it all to you. I tell my kids all the time, if it wasn't for Mike Witch, you wouldn't be around.
Well, maybe I should get a Father's Day present too.
Yes, you should.
The mayoralty in the village is a part-time job,
Yes, it is.
but you have a full-time job too, don't you?
I do. I'm an elevator mechanic, and I have been for 33 years.
How do you juggle both jobs? I'm assuming it's the elevator mechanic. You have to be there 9 to 5 or whatever your
Yes,
shift is.
it's actually. I get there about 6:30, and I leave around 3, which gets me back into the village before 4. Usually, sometimes even 3:30. So I go straight to Village Hall. I do stuff that I have to do, and then a lot of the meetings are at night.
Yes.
And I try and take care of a lot of things on the weekends. I have office hours at the village on the weekends, and we're never too far away or separated these days. With our phones, and people contact you and reach out to you often. But the village is a $9,000 a year job, so unless you're retired, you have to have something to keep body and soul together. And the truth be told, I've been doing this 33 years as an elevator mechanic, and I really enjoy it.
I'm going to say that job must have its ups and downs, but we don't have that sound effect at LMC, but we should.
You should, yeah. Rim shot.
We have some things. I know you want to talk about the new village manager, and there's
Yes.
a new trustee coming in, and you wanted to mention a zoning law and a Safe Streets initiative, and maybe the murals
Yes.
that are going up. But I want to give our first question to Tom from Rhinebeck, who submitted a question via nextdoor.com.
Okay.
And he's talking about the population growth in Mamaroneck. And he says, besides obvious traffic, village and Metro North parking, how will the growth affect essential services and tax revenue? He's heard, I'll just add this, he's heard one trustee suggest that tax revenue will not be able to keep up. And does that mean that longtime residents will pay more to ultimately support the new population?
Well, the real issue is how the population affects our schools, and they're especially in Rhinebeck district, but especially in the Mamaroneck district, the schools are at the saturation point. So if we have 25, 30, 50 more students, and it requires building new classrooms at Mamaroneck Avenue School, or building new classrooms at Hummocks, that affects the tax rate of all of us. And the same situation could occur in Rhinebeck. Although, truth be told, most of the building has been going on in the town of Mamaroneck side of the village of Mamaroneck. And also, there's the idea of traffic and not being able to get where you want to get to, the idea of village character. Even though you and I live in an apartment, we moved here because of a small town feel. And I grew up in the city, and I lived in the city until I was almost 30 years old before I moved up here. And I moved up here to have that small town experience, but also have a walkable community. So one of the things that we've been working on is what I call the Safe Streets Initiative. And that is to get people to drive safer, to get people to drive slower, to encourage our young people and parents of school-age children to have them walk, because we've done a couple of surveys both in Rhinebeck and in the Mamaroneck Avenue School, and it's kind of counterintuitive. Parents will say, I drive my child because it's not safe for them to walk. So we have more cars on the road because of the perception of it not being safe. And I understand parents' concerns. I've seen some of the driving that goes on in this community. And
Well, won't the driving increase, as Tom said, with the population growth?
but that's why we have a moratorium on development.
Okay.
And we're working, hopefully, that we pass a law that lowers the density that's allowed. And not only is it lowering the density that's allowed, but it's going to require affordable housing to be built. So if the law passes, 10% of all new dwellings will be affordable dwellings, to try and keep the people who grew up here, the people who work here, people who work at LMC TV, people who work in the town of Mamaroneck and the village of Mamaroneck, to be able to live in a community where a lot of them grew up.
Because the signs I see on some of the developments are luxury.
Luxury and exorbitant.
Yeah.
1.7 million. And
Right across from the harbor.
Right. Rent some of the rentals for $4,000 or $5,000. So a working family, it can't afford to live there. We did a part of the planning process where we were doing a moratorium to buy a low-end or medium to low-end house in the village of Mamaroneck, as a family, you need to be making $200,000. And that's a lot of money. So what we're telling people is, if unless you're very affluent, both parents have to be working. And unfortunately, that's the situation, the norm now. More, I think when we were growing up, that was a lot of our moms stayed home, and we benefited from that in a lot of ways. And today it's just so difficult for young people starting out. I have a young man who I work with in the elevator business, and he was talking. He lives in the Bronx, and he was talking about moving. And he said, "What do you think of Mamaroneck?" I said, "Well, I love Mamaroneck. I'm the mayor." I said, "Is your wife going to work after you have children?" He says, "I would. I don't think so." I said, "You got to start thinking about that." I said, "You might have to move up the line more." And I hated to say it because he's a great young man, and I'd love to see him in the village of Mamaroneck, and he'd be a great addition to the village of Mamaroneck. And we were, for a long time, a large working class community, and we're losing that.
Well, I want to talk more about that and the new village manager and the trustee. And we've got a little commercial from LMC TV. We'll be right back after this message. Please stay tuned.
Do you need space for a meeting, conference, or presentation? LMC TV has what you need. Our 768 square foot studio space is ideal for many types of productions, readings, recitals, rehearsals, and workshops. The space has video recording capability, as well as daylight temperature lighting, green screen, and stage. 2 additional rooms at 208 and 156 square feet can be used for any of your needs. Auditions, meetings, classes, workshops, one-on-one instructions, and more. Both rooms feature video monitors with Chromecasting capability, making presentations a breeze. To reserve one or more of our spaces,
contact us at reserve@lmctv.org.
For over 35 years, LMC TV has been your community connection. Community events, studio and equipment access, classes, municipal and school board meetings, sports, news, and so much more. But the world is changing, and our community is changing with it. We encourage you to take action, join us, and create the space you want and deserve. We're listening. Are you watching? This is your opportunity to get what you want. Visit lmctv.org today and fill out our online survey and help us continue to build community through media.
Hi, welcome back. I'm sitting here with the mayor of the village of Mamaroneck, Tom Murphy. Don't forget, this is your time to call, ask a question. And, I see a question is right up on the monitor now. I can ask it. Tom, this viewer wants to know what have been the highlights of serving as village manager? Village mayor, excuse me.
Village manager gets paid a lot more.
That's a full-time job. And we'll talk about him. He's new on the job.
But I would say some of the highlights, when I first got elected, there was a really bad fire, and that wasn't a highlight. It was a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And it was on Mount Pleasant Avenue, and 8 families were made homeless. And it was on December 23rd. Oh. And so, I remember standing outside the building, and our brave volunteer firemen carrying out waterlogged presents that because they had inundated the building because the fire was so bad. And I was able to reach out that night to various people in the community and to go on Facebook and on Twitter. And we opened up the Hispanic Resource Center on Christmas Eve. And in that day, we raised $30,000. They had to stop taking clothes donations and food donations because so much came in. And when you're lucky enough to be mayor of a community that has that much caring and that much love, and that can reach out and help those who are in dire straits, you realize you're a very lucky man. So that was my highlight. There's been a lot of legislative things and good things that have happened, but that to me made me so proud to be representing this community.
Well, thank you for that question, viewer. ask more questions in the about 15 minutes we have left. I want to ask you, you have a work session as well as a public meeting coming up this Monday, I believe.
Yes.
And as you know, Trustee Dan Natchez has a alert that he puts out to people who sign up for emails, and he lists all kinds of events. And he says the upcoming budget is going to be a topic. Is it, you want to preview anything? Any announcements on the upcoming budget?
That'll be a short topic on the work session because the budget is mostly done. We are under the tax cap. We have, it's under 2.47, I believe. We were very lucky that the staff worked very hard and they came in with a tax cap compliant budget. It does not cut any services. It allows for some growth in some areas. You know, I'm very proud of this budget. I think that it serves the community well. It's very hard these days to fit everything in because you know you get a number from Albany of 2.47, but then you look in healthcare costs and pension costs right there eat up 75%.
You're talking about the state aid.
No. What the state makes us pay toward our employees.
I see.
So the increase this year for pension and health, I think in total came to about $400,000 of the 600 and something that we were allowed to grow.
Yeah.
So you know, so what's left is there's very little room for real expansion of programs. But you know, we shifted some stuff around, and like I said, the employees of the community came in with a realistic budget, a budget that recognized that we have a lot of citizens who are striving to stay in this community. So I'm hoping that, and I'm pretty confident that the budget will pass Monday night, and we will be in good shape for next year.
And you have ways to communicate the budget information to the public?
It's all online.
It's all online?
It's all online.
Okay.
Yes. If you go to the village website, you can look at the budget. LMC TV televises our work sessions. We're the only community. When I came on the board, that's one of the things that I am proud of is that we started televising the work session so that people could see behind the scenes and how decisions get made. So all of those work sessions, not the budget work session, but all of our work sessions where we talk about programs and stuff like that are all watchable.
Right. And they're also archived. They're on your website?
They're on your website?
And I think your website as well.
Yeah.
And they're indexed, are they not?
Yeah, when you go to the meeting, you could pick the agenda item, click on it, and just watch that if you want to. You don't want to watch the whole 5 hours of the meeting.
Go right to
I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch it. But
of course. I remember years ago that public officials and school board officials were sort of wary about appearing on camera, but now it's a matter of course.
Yeah, it's you know what, there's such a dearth of local media. The Journal News doesn't cover us anymore. There's no more real local papers that cover us anymore. So that's really what we can get across on Local Live and LMC TV. That's why LMC TV is so vital.
Well, we heard Matt Sullivan talking a little bit before the commercial about a survey that LMC is putting out, and I know the Village has put it out a link on their website.
Yes.
You are the current chair of the Board of Control, the Cable TV Board of Control.
Yes, sir.
And the survey ties into the Board of Control because you folks supply what's called franchise fees, and you apply them, a lot of them, to LMC operations, and that's under threat right now. So the survey is going to help see the future or determine the future for LMC, and the more people that answer that survey, the stronger our position, because we also have to renegotiate cable franchises.
The cable contracts are up in a couple of years, so we have to get prepared for that. And what the Buskey report, which is a survey, will do is give us an ability to see what the community wants to do in the future.
Yes.
What the needs of our residents are for this medium in the future. But what you hit on before about the franchise fees, it's just so the folks in the community know, is that the FCC, that's the Federal Communications Commission, is reviewing a rule. Right now, 5% of all franchise fees in the community go to...
The 5% of the cable, what the cable company makes from television.
Just from television.
Right.
Just from television. That's
No
the only thing we get a
internet, no
franchise fee. We
telephone.
don't get a franchise fee on television, on internet or telephone.
Right.
So 5% of that goes to the community. Like as you said, we put most of it toward LMC TV, but FCC is considering rule changes where the in-kind contributions, like the free access channels, 75, 76, 77, or whatever it is, 33, 34, and 35,
Right.
that they want to charge us for that, so that they would take that off the franchise fee.
As well as the
head
cost of
end,
the
and
drops to
the
the
drops to the
schools, the
schools
drops
and
to
all
the
of that.
firehouses.
And they get to set the price.
Yeah.
So, you know, this would be ruinous for LMC and for local access throughout the country. So what's important now is to contact our senators. Our Congress people are on board in opposing this rule change, but so far Senator Gillibrand and Senator Schumer have not committed to that. So if you could contact Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand's office and tell them to oppose the FCC rule change as it regards to franchise fees for cable TV, that would be very helpful.
And Representative Engel?
Representative Engel has signed on. He's our guy, and he's on board with opposing it.
Okay, good. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll finally get to introduce the new village manager and trustee. We'll be right back.
LMC TV Media Center is the spot for your next party. Lights, camera, liftoff. The possibilities are endless. Space adventures, video gaming, whatever they imagine, LMC can achieve. Kids of all ages have fun making their own videos in our professional TV studio. LMC TV is the perfect spot for your creative kid to celebrate with friends and make a memory that will last forever in video. Party themes can range depending on their desire. Fun news shows, music videos, stop motion, overall silliness, our cameras can capture it all. Contact us to book a party today.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
We're back at the round table. Mayor Tom Murphy is my guest, and you've got about 7 minutes or so to call in with your question for the mayor. He'll answer any question that's posed, I think, I hope. Talk to me about the new village manager.
The new village manager is a gentleman named Jerry Barbario. Mr. Barbario grew up in Long Island. He has extensive government experience. He worked for the county executive in Long Island. He was a manager in New Jersey for years, and he lived in New Jersey for years. So he grew up in a community like Lynbrook, which is a lot like Mamaroneck out on Long Island.
Yes.
And he has fit right in, and I'm very happy with his appointment that the board chose him. He is a hands-on kind of gentleman. He has jumped right in. He has an ability to assess a situation and make a decision. And I think he will be a good fit for the village of Mamaroneck in the coming years. And as I said when we appointed him, I'm hoping that Jerry is there long after I'm gone.
And you have another new person coming on board, a new trustee, because Trustee Keith Waite.
As the program showed before, Trustee Waite is going back to England for a couple of years, and we're going to miss him. I really enjoyed working with Keith. He's a gentleman, and he always tried to think through every problem in a rational, reasonable way. But I'm happy to announce that
Kelly,
after a lot of talking to a lot of people and a lot of thought, I am going to appoint Kelly Wenstrup on Tuesday, the 23rd. And Ms. Wenstrup is an attorney. She's done a lot of litigation, both civil and criminal. She's on the zoning board of the Village of Mamaroneck. She was on the traffic board of the Village of Mamaroneck. And she's a parent in the community. And I look forward to serving with her.
good. So she'll fill the unexpired term of Keith?
The unexpired term of Keith until December in which time, like we were talking about before, like your dad,
Sure.
she'll have to run for the rest of his term.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay. Do you want to talk about the historic murals? Have you seen them?
I have seen them. Aren't they lovely?
I haven't seen them yet.
Well, take my word.
I've seen some reactions on nextstory.com. There was a person who said they were wonderful, but then we also saw a comment from somebody on Facebook saying he didn't like them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about art, isn't it? It's all very subjective. But I personally like them very much. I wasn't involved in the, and you wouldn't want me involved in the aesthetic choices of it.
Well, there were several people. I mean, the Historical Society was
Historical
involved.
Society, the Arts Council,
Right.
The 501c3, I forget their name, Art for Humanity.
Yes.
Well, Trustee Leon former Trustee Leon Potok was very instrumental in getting this done, and I thank him for his continued involvement in this community that I know he loves. And I think they look, they have a historical context which you'll learn more about when we introduce them. But I think that they are really, really vibrant, and they tell a story of Mamaroneck. And I notice people there's always somebody who won't like something, but just remember that what's his name? Van Gogh never sold a painting in his life, right? and we now look at him as one of the most accomplished artists of all time.
Did they accomplish the mural that had the Skinny House on it by any chance?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not
Okay.
yet, yeah.
I mention it because way back in 1986, Gloria Pritz, who was then the village historian, and I walked through the Skinny House with the owner of it at that time,
Right.
Mrs. Seeley, and LMC found the videotape.
No kidding.
Yes, so the Historic Society is going to work with LMC to get it on the air again.
Wow.
So people can see it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a beautiful house. I mean, you could reach your arms out and touch.
Literally,
yeah,
about 10
literally.
feet wide.
Yeah.
And it's got a cable that runs from one side of it over the roof down to the other side.
Securing it.
To keep it from falling over in the wind. Interesting house. Recycling. The recycling program in Mamaroneck how's that going?
The recycling program is very good. We hired an employee just to organize the recycling.
I met him. I had to throw a computer printer away.
And isn't he just
And he
an
greeted
amazing
me
young
in
man?
the pouring rain.
Yeah.
Yes. And wanted to give me a tour, and I said, another time. But he took the printer, and he had a special place for it, and it looks very organized on
It
Fayette
is very
Avenue.
organized, and he has a joie de vivre that you have to admire.
Yeah.
And he loves his job, and we're very, very happy with what's going on. And now we do food waste recycling.
Yes.
You could take your scraps down there, and we will make compost out of them. So we're trying to do. That's the situation. We're doing more with less.
Yes.
We hired him last year. That was an add-on to the budget last year. So it is a vibrant program, and if you don't know, you can go down to Fayette Avenue to drop off your recycling and your food scraps.
And it's right off Fenimore.
Right off Fenimore. Right before
right
you
turn, go to the end.
Right turn, go to the end before you get to the railroad track. Not the railroad track, before you get to the I-95.
Right. Zoning law?
Well, that's what I talked about before with the moratorium,
Right.
and hopefully we have a law that's being circulated now to the land use boards, and we will have a public hearing in May.
And you're going to change the zoning to
Lower density,
Lower the density.
and require affordable housing.
I wanted to ask you how you communicate with the public. Obviously, you're on television. You have your own show, the Tom Murphy Show.
I do have my own show.
And you're a guest here.
I'm a
Not
guest here.
infrequently. You come on fairly often.
Well, whenever you'll have me.
Yeah. And you're on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook. I do Twitter. I'm on the Avenue all the time. I send emails. I have an email list. If you want to get on my email list, email me at tmurphy@vomny.org.
Okay.
Hopefully we can get that on the screen. tmurphy@vomny.org.
Okay.
And I will put you on the email list, or you can sign up on a website for it. And you can sign up for many village alerts and lists that we have. As I said before, it's harder and harder. In 2001, when I was first on the Board of Trustees, in the front row would be 3 reporters
Yeah.
at every board meeting.
Right.
And now,
So it's harder to communicate, and you use social media and LMC and
yeah.
email and
Yes.
you don't do a town crier approach yet, right?
Not yet.
You're not on the corner, but you could.
I could. I've been on the corner a lot.
I wanted to ask you about flood control. Is that Army Corps of Engineer project? Can you update us on that?
Right now, from what the last I heard, the approval is on the desk of the Assistant Secretary of the Army. He has to do a cost-benefit analysis on it and then sign off on it. But we have elected officials who are pushing very hard for it. Our former Congresswoman, Nita Lowey, who doesn't represent us anymore, but is chair of the Ways and Means Committee, is pushing very hard for it. And we thank her for that. And we thank our present Congressman, Elliot Engel, for pushing the same, together in tandem.
Right.
And we're hopeful. But, federal government being what it is these days, I'll see it when I see it. You know what I mean?
Is that key to the development of the industrial zone?
It's definitely, I think you could develop the industrial zone without it, but it's definitely easier with it.
Yeah.
The less flooding we have, the better off it is for everybody.
Well, I saw a proposal to build holding tanks underground.
Yeah, that's part of the...
I think it was an idea that Europeans came up with a while ago, and it was maybe a good idea for us too.
Well, part of what they're going to do is widen and deepen the river.
Yeah.
Which has the same effect, right?
Right.
It's
straighten it out too.
And straighten it out, yeah.
Right. Potholes. We see them. We run over them. My teeth rattle sometimes. Does the village repair potholes?
Yes. Depending on what street, some of them are county, some of them are state. But the village, right now, we have coming up in the spring about $3 million worth of paving, which is huge. Usually, a community like Mamaroneck would do $500,000, $600,000 a year. But the past 4 or 5 years, they did none. So one of the things I wanted to do when we got in was catch up. So we're going to catch up to where we should be, and then we'll go back to the $500,000, $600,000 that you're supposed to do.
So we can
every year.
expect to see trucks on the road?
You're going to see a lot of paving.
Soon, okay.
Starting probably in the summer.
Do you want people to report
Yes, we definitely.
teeth rattlers to you guys?
Yes, yeah. We want people to report teeth rattlers. We want people to report if there's definitely a dangerous situation. If it's an area that's walked, like a crosswalk or something like that, we want to know right away. If it's near a sewer grate, we want to know right away. That, if you see something dangerous, yes, report it right away.
And that email address, let's give it one more time. I'm not sure it's up on the screen. But
well, yeah, T. Murphy, TMURPHY, @VOMNY.org.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we leave anything out?
I think we
I could
got
sit here
around
with
it.
you for another hour and talk, and I hope you'll come back and
I'd
allow me to do
be
that.
delighted.
Okay. Tom Murphy, Village Manager, thank you for coming.
Village Mayor.
I said manager
You
again?
said manager again, yeah.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry. Sorry, viewers. Well, thanks for watching, and don't go away because LMC TV has more of the local live right now.
Thank you, Mike. It's always a pleasure, pal.
The move comes 4 days after her blackface comment that provoked a firestorm.
In an era of media consolidation and globalization, the PEG channels root our media in local communities, in local voices, and that is absolutely indispensable.
A lot of people are able to get job training, information, just from using public access.
This is about the arts. This is about accessibility. This is about transparency.
Great youth media programs giving people second chances in being able to learn new skills.
PEG stations give viewers critical information about their communities and offer an important platform for local residents. PEG channels connect us to our communities, and they enrich our lives every single day of the year. The FCC should work for communities, not powerful cable companies. This battle is a lot like the fight for net neutrality. Net neutrality is really about every voice, no matter how small, being heard. The same is true here with the PEG channels.
The main threat facing media centers nationwide is that the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is going to redefine how we receive our funding.
It will impact the people who we're trying to serve. They're actually paying for us in their cable bill. And now all of a sudden the cable operator is taking their money, then deducting it from us.
They cannot be in a position where they basically force the shuttering of PEG channels all across our country.
We need Congress to tell the FCC that they're out of bounds.
It's pretty clear to me that the FCC is an agency that does the public's will begrudgingly, and it fits and starts.
We're talking about supporting causes, charities, education, youth, seniors, democracy.
This is not a left issue. This is not a right issue. This is an everybody issue.
If you care about protecting local community access television, raise your voices.
The couple behind Street Art for Mankind is back, this time in the village of Mamaroneck. Here's a look at the progress of Mamaroneck's historical murals, which will culminate with an art walk this Saturday, April 20th at 1 p.m., kicking off from Columbus Park.
Yeah, well, actually, we were really happy with the Larchmont historical murals, and actually it's Mamaroneck who approached us and asked us if we wanted to continue the road, the journey over the villages of Westchester County, and they offered us to do a Mamaroneck. That's how it started. And we are very, very happy because every village has its own DNA and there is a strong diversity in the villages of Westchester County. And Mamaroneck is very different from Larchmont, and to be able to express the differences, and show the diversity and the DNA of that specific village of Mamaroneck is really a treat and something fantastic for us as well as for the artists. And we really feel like there is a strong way to bond the community together through street art in Mamaroneck as well.
A group of citizens met multiple times and brainstormed ideas for the murals. I know the Historical Society put forward some specific historical events and names that might be included in some of the themes or drive some of the themes. We also heard from residents of the village who participated in the discussions about the kinds of things that kind of resonate with them about being a community member in Mamaroneck.
It's not just because of it's fun getting dirty in a big surface and having spray cans in your hand, which for me it's like one of the most fascinating tools that you can actually very fast and anywhere you can just apply it on the wall in a surface and you get a result, But it costs years of dedication and learning techniques and everything, getting better on what you do and in your own style. So for me, painting outside it's for me it's the best way to enjoy being an artist, not just being out there and being outdoor painting and creating a masterpiece on a wall and somebody's wall that you probably never met or you never will, but you just gave it a piece on that little area that you're painting and boom, sometimes you gotta be gone in a couple of days and then you're never gonna see that piece again, but that everybody around would see it and have it forever, you know what I mean? And sometimes it stays forever. I have a piece that is being up for 15 years and it's there still and people love it,
So there is an app called Behind the Wall that people can use. It's free. You can download it on App Store or on Play Store, and it works. Actually, when you look actually at the paintings, you get the information, you get the bio, you get the story. The artist starts talking to you, which is kind of cool, and then you can walk around, have a kind of an audio guide of all the walls.
Come on all and join us on April 20th. It's Saturday, it's 1 p.m. We're doing a fantastic artwork with the artists, with the key people of the community, with the mayor, with obviously the Historical Society. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we really hope to see you all there. 1 p.m. and this is at the park,
Columbus Park, exactly where we are today, where the kids are having fun trying spray cans. They're going wild.
Here's what's happening around town. Join St. John's Church in Larchmont for an Easter sunrise service on Sunday, April 21st. They will be at Manor Park starting at 6:30 a.m. and will continue the service at 9 a.m. and again at 11 a.m. At 10:30 a.m., there will be an egg hunt for preschool children in the Rectory Garden. Celebrate Earth Day in a unique way by creating your own bookmark at the Mamaroneck Public Library on Monday, April 22nd at 3:30 p.m., which is also Earth Day. Participants will look closely at plants and animals as inspiration for their creations. All ages are welcome. Enjoy a night of laughter and fun at the second annual Comedy Night fundraiser, hosted by the Center for Continuing Education at Molly Spillane's in Mamaroneck next Thursday, April 25th at 7 p.m. Don't miss a night with comedians from the New York City club scene.
LMC Cast.
The whole system is fine. All right, cool. I definitely would recommend doing podcasts if you are someone that likes to get something off the chest, or you want to just talk about anything in the world that just might interest you. Podcast here at LMC TV is amazing.
I hope you're listening out there.
LMC TV would like to thank local artist Jamie Lynn at Made, an art studio in Mamaroneck, for creating a beautiful community mural. Place your piece in this mural by contributing to LMC TV, the community connection that brings you local board meetings, varsity sports, and your local news. Please contribute to this community mural by going to our website and clicking on Donate. Each contributor will be listed next to the mural when it is complete. We value your appreciation of what we do. Become a single donor or as a group, go to lmctv.org. The only piece missing is you.
This week in sports, the Mamaroneck boys lacrosse team hosted Half Hollow Hills East and trailed early. Tigers goalie Jack Freed did his best to keep the Thunderbirds off the board in the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
Which was usually there's less saves than goals. Is that save number one for Jack Freed? Good save there, as that one looked like it was going in, and he kind of got a piece of it, and then he got a piece of the goal post, and now another save by Freed. What a save by Jack Freed. That's a top play-esque. Freed came out of nowhere and made the great save that keeps it 1-0, and that's huge because Mamaroneck doesn't want to fall behind 2-0.
Join in the fight against pancreatic cancer. Get inspired by patients, survivors, and loved ones who are on the same journey. Together, we will raise awareness and funds and honor everyone impacted by this terrible disease. Research remains our best strategy. There has never been a more exciting time in pancreatic cancer research. There are new treatment options on the horizon, and an early detection test is in development. But with just a 9% survival rate, we need to do more. Unfortunately, pancreatic cancer is on the rise. More than 56,000 Americans are projected to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2019, which is an increase in diagnoses from last year. Pancreatic cancer is the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States, surpassing breast cancer, and is expected to be the second leading cause of cancer death in the United States by next year. Let's change these numbers and bring hope to pancreatic cancer research. In memory of my wonderful mom and also all the others affected by this horrible disease, please join me and the Lustgarten Foundation at the 10th Annual Westchester Pancreatic Cancer Research Walk at Rye Playland on Sunday, April 28th. 100% of every dollar raised goes directly to pancreatic cancer research. Register today at lustgartenwalkwestchester.org. That's LUSTGARTEN walkwestchester.org.
Do you have a news tip? Seen anything interesting around town? Is there breaking news in your community? Send your videos, comments, pictures, and tips to the Local Live, your news source of Larchmont and Mamaroneck.
Remember, if you missed Thursday's live broadcast, you can catch replays of the Local Live twice a day on this channel and find story clips on our YouTube channel. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook to stay up to date on things you may have missed. LMC TV has launched a community survey. Please take a few minutes to tell us what you want from your local media center. You are the community, this is about you. One more thing. Village and town offices will be closed tomorrow on Good Friday, April 19th. And we want to wish our programmer, in-house photographer, and Photoshop expert, Stefan Aloisa, a happy birthday. Thank you for all the hard work that you do and for making us look really good. Thank you for watching The Local Live. I'm Sibylla Chipaziwa. Have a happy Passover and a happy Easter. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Have a good night.
The following program is brought to you by The Bot Shop, the art of creativity. If you are interested in sponsoring this or other programs on LMC TV, contact us for more information.